"I need to withdraw $1 million, says the man in torn jeans and a faded black t-shirt. The bank manager bursts out laughing. Then he checks the account balance. His face turns to ash. $23 million. The scruffy stranger standing before him is worth more than every client in the building combined. But that is not the real shock. The real shock comes when the manager discovers who this man truly is and why he is here. Because this money is meant to save the daughter of a dead friend, a daughter the manager abandoned 23 years ago when she was pregnant with his child. Stay. Because in the next 52 minutes, one word will destroy a career, expose a coward, and prove that respect should never depend on the clothes someone wears. This is real. This starts now, 6:40, 5 in the morning, Los Angeles. The Pacific Coast Highway stretches beneath the California sun like a silver ribbon winding toward destiny. Waves crash against the rocky shore below, sending white spray into the salt, tinged air. Seagulls cry overhead, their voices mixing with the distant rumble of early morning traffic. Keanu Reeves wakes up the same way he has for 3 decades. No alarm. Just instinct, the muscle memory of a man who learned long ago that life does not wait for the unprepared. His Malibu home is modest by Hollywood standards. No mansion with 30 rooms he would never use. No fleet of luxury vehicles collecting dust in climate-controlled garages. Just a craftsman bungalow with ocean views, worn hardwood floors, and a garage filled with motorcycles he built with his own hands over countless weekends. He lies in bed for a moment, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the phone call that came 3 weeks ago. Thinking about the promise he made 18 years before that. Thinking about Thomas Mitchell. Keanu showers quickly, the water barely warm, pulls on whatever clothes are closest. Today that means faded jeans with a hole in the right knee, a concert T-shirt from a band he saw in 1991, and boots that have walked more miles than most people drive in a lifetime. His beard is several days past needing attention. His hair falls past his shoulders, tangled from sleep, natural and uncombed. He catches his reflection in the bathroom mirror and almost smiles. He looks like a man who sleeps under bridges. He looks like a man the world has forgotten. He looks exactly like himself. And that is exactly how he wants it. Inside his weathered messenger bag sits one item. A bank card connected to an account he rarely touches. $23 million accumulated over decades of work, invested wisely by people he trusts, grown patiently through years of compound interest and careful management. Money has never meant much to Keanu. He grew up without it, watched his mother struggle, learned early that the things that matter most cannot be purchased at any price. But today, money means everything. Because today, that money will save a life. Rebecca Mitchell is dying. The daughter of his best friend, the girl he promised to protect when her father drew his final breath 18 years ago. The woman who has spent 2 decades raising children alone, working jobs that broke her body, and never once asking for help she was too proud to accept. Cancer found her 3 weeks ago. Rare, aggressive, the kind that does not negotiate or compromise, but treatable, if she gets the right care, if she gets it fast enough. If someone can pay for the experimental protocols that insurance companies refuse to cover, Keanu can pay. And so Keanu will pay. He makes coffee in the kitchen. Dark roast, the kind that tastes like determination and smells like purpose. Drinks it standing at the window, watching the Pacific Ocean stretch toward horizons he has chased his entire life. His phone buzzes. A text from Rebecca. "You really don't have to do this." He types back without hesitation. "I really do. See you tomorrow." 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, "Thank you. I don't have words. You don't need words. Just get better." He finishes his coffee, rinses the mug, places it in the dish rack with the precision of a man who lives alone and has learned to find peace in small rituals. The drive to the airport takes 45 minutes through morning traffic. He takes the motorcycle, a 1970 3 Norton Commando, he restored himself over 2 winters. The engine purrs beneath him like a contented cat, vibrating through his bones with familiar comfort. At the airport, he parks in long term, walks through the terminal in his worn clothes, drawing occasional glances from travelers who think they recognize something in his face but cannot quite place it. Nobody stops him for autographs. Nobody asks for photographs. He is just another traveler in the endless river of humanity flowing through departure gates. The flight to Louisville takes 4 hours. He reads a book about motorcycle maintenance, sleeps for 30 minutes, dreams about Thomas. In the dream, they are young again, working on a film set in the Arizona desert. Thomas is teaching him how to fall without getting hurt, how to make violence look real without causing real damage. The trick, Thomas says in the dream, is commitment. You have to commit completely to the fall. If you hesitate, that is when you get hurt. Keanu wakes as the plane begins its descent. The dream fades, but the lesson remains. Commit completely. Do not hesitate. By the time Keanu lands in Louisville, it is already past noon. The Kentucky sun beats down on the tarmac with humid intensity, so different from the dry heat of California. He rents a simple car from the airport. Nothing flashy. A mid-range sedan that blends into traffic like a gray ghost. He could have hired a driver, could have arranged a limousine, could have traveled the way the world expects celebrities to travel. But Keanu has never been interested in meeting expectations. He drives toward downtown Louisville, following the GPS through streets he has never seen before. The city sprawls around him, a mixture of old Southern charm and new urban development. Churches and bars share blocks. Historic buildings stand beside gleaming glass towers. First Heritage Bank rises from the financial district like a monument to money and the power it represents. Marble facade, brass fixtures gleaming in the afternoon light. Glass doors etched with the bank's logo, promising discretion and professionalism to those who can afford such promises. Keanu parks in the visitor lot. Checks his reflection in the rearview mirror. Faded jeans, old t-shirt, tangled hair, 3-day stubble. He looks like he cannot afford the parking meter outside. He walks in anyway. The lobby hits him with a wall of cold air and expensive fragrance. Climate control set to Arctic temperatures. Hidden speakers playing soft jazz. Fresh flowers arranged in crystal vases on marble pedestals. The floor is polished to a mirror shine. His worn boots squeak slightly against it, drawing attention he neither seeks nor avoids. A security guard in the corner notices him immediately. Middle-aged. Professional. His eyes narrow slightly as he assesses this shabby newcomer who clearly does not belong in such refined surroundings. Keanu ignores the attention. Walks toward the service counter with the unhurried confidence of a man who has faced paparazzi and premier crowds, and none of it has ever changed who he is inside. 3 teller windows. 6 service desks arranged in a semicircle. A waiting area with leather chairs that probably cost more than some people's monthly rent. Counter 3 is open. A man sits there, mid-40s. Expensive charcoal suit tailored to perfection. Silk tie the color of old money. Hair styled with product that costs more than a working family's grocery budget. Nails manicured. Shoes polished. Every detail calculated to project success and superiority. His name badge gleams under the fluorescent lights like a medal of honor. Bradley Harrison, branch manager. 18 years experience. Keanu approaches the counter. Something about that name tugs at his memory, but he cannot place it. Good afternoon. I need to withdraw $1 million from my account. He places his bank card on the marble counter. The plastic looks cheap and ordinary against the expensive stone. Bradley Harrison looks at the card. Then he looks at Keanu. The transformation in his expression is immediate and unmistakable. His professional smile curdles at the edges. His eyes travel from Keanu's tangled hair down to his worn boots, cataloging every detail of poverty and dismissing the man before him in a single contemptuous glance. The look. Keanu has seen it before. Not often. because fame usually shields him from such naked judgment. But he knows it intimately. The look that says you do not belong here. The look that says people like you do not have money like this. The look that says I know exactly what you are, and what you are is beneath me. Bradley picks up the bank card with 2 fingers, as if touching it might contaminate his manicured hands. "Sir," he says, pronouncing the word like something he found on the bottom of his shoe. "Are you quite certain about that amount? Perhaps you meant $100. His smile is a weapon disguised as courtesy. "1 million. I need it urgently." Bradley actually laughs, not a polite chuckle. A genuine laugh of disbelief and mockery. "Of course you do." He types the card information into his computer with exaggerated patience, clearly expecting to expose a fraud or find an account containing pocket change. His fingers freeze on the keyboard. His laugh dies in his throat. He blinks. Once, twice, 3 times. Types again. Checks the numbers. Rechecks them. The color drains from his face like water from a cracked vessel. 3,450,000. The scruffy stranger in torn jeans is worth more than most of his premium clients combined, more than the bank's monthly transaction volume, more than Bradley's wildest dreams of wealth. Bradley's hands develop a slight tremor. I apologize, sir. This is a substantial account." His voice has changed completely. Still suspicious, but now tinged with confusion and something approaching fear. How could someone who looks like this have money like that? Is there a problem? Keanu asks calmly. "No, no problem. It is just that, for a withdrawal of this magnitude, we require additional documentation." "What documentation?" "Multiple forms of identification. Perhaps some explanation of the source of these funds. Standard procedure for large transactions." Bradley's eyes keep flicking to the computer screen as if expecting the numbers to change, to reveal the mistake he desperately needs to find. Keanu provides his driver's license, California. Current. Photo matches despite the longer hair and fuller beard than the image captured years ago. Bradley examines it with excessive scrutiny. Types the information, pauses, types again. His eyes widen further. He has just read the full name on the account. Keanu Charles Reeves. Keanu Reeves. Bradley's mind races through calculations of impossibility. This cannot be right. This shabby man cannot possibly be the movie star. Celebrities wear designer clothes, travel with entourages, do not walk into Kentucky banks looking like they just crawled out of a dumpster. This must be identity theft. It has to be. "Sir, I am going to need additional verification. This appears to be a case of potential fraud." Keanu's expression remains calm as still water, but something hardens in his eyes like ice forming on a winter lake. "Fraud? Yes. Someone of your presentation claiming to have this amount of money. It raises significant red flags. Someone of my presentation. Sir, I am simply following bank protocol for suspicious transactions." "What protocol requires you to judge customers by their clothing?" Bradley flushes slightly, but his arrogance quickly reasserts itself. "I am protecting this institution from fraudulent activity. Your appearance is inconsistent with your claimed account balance. Surely you can understand my concern. I understand that you looked at my clothes and decided I was worthless before you even checked my account. That is not what I said." "That is exactly what you did." Bradley's flush deepens to angry crimson. "Sir, I am going to need you to wait while I contact our fraud department." "Security." He waves toward the guard who has been watching since Keanu entered. "Please wait with this gentleman while I make some calls." The security officer approaches. Former military, by the look of him. Broad shoulders, careful eyes, uncomfortable with the situation but trained to follow orders. "Sir, if you could just step aside." "I am not stepping aside. I am making a legitimate withdrawal from my own account." Keanu pulls out his phone, places it on the counter, "and I am recording this interaction." Bradley's face contorts with outrage. "You cannot record without permission. This is private property. Kentucky, allows recording in public spaces where there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. This is a public business transaction in a public lobby. I do not need your permission. His voice is calm, but carries an edge that cuts through Bradley's bluster like a blade through silk. And I am not leaving this counter until this check is processed, or until you provide me with a written explanation for your refusal to serve a legitimate customer. Bradley stands up from his chair. His voice rises, carrying across the marble lobby. This man is attempting to commit fraud. He claims to have over $20 million in his account, but look at him. Does he look like someone with that kind of money? The words echo off the walls and floor, drawing every eye in the building. 14 customers turn to stare. Business executives in $1,000 suits. Elderly couples in their Sunday best. Young professionals with expensive haircuts and judgmental eyes. All of them looking at Keanu. All of them making the same calculation Bradley made. Worn clothes, tangled hair, unshaven face. Clearly does not belong. Keanu stands perfectly still. He has faced worse, much worse. The death of his closest friend in a motorcycle accident. The loss of his girlfriend and their stillborn daughter. Decades of grief that would have broken most people into pieces too small to ever reassemble. A rude bank manager is nothing, but something about this situation feels wrong beyond the obvious insult. Bradley Harrison. The name keeps nagging at his memory. Thomas mentioned that name once, years ago, in the hospital during those final hours. The boy who left her pregnant. Bradley Harrison. He abandoned her when she needed him most. Keanu's eyes narrow slightly. Could this be the same man? Sir, I am going to need you to leave immediately. Bradley continues, emboldened by his captive audience. You are disrupting our business and clearly attempting to perpetrate identity fraud. I am not leaving without my money. Then I will have you arrested. Call the police. I will wait. Bradley hesitates. He expected the threat to work. Expected the scruffy stranger to slink away in embarrassment, properly chastened by his social betters. Instead, the man stands his ground with the quiet confidence of someone who has faced down far worse threats than a bank manager with a superiority complex. Fine. Security, please escort this man to the waiting area while I contact the authorities and report an attempted fraud. The security officer steps forward reluctantly. Sir, if you could just... The front door opens. A woman walks in, 52 years old. Power suit in navy blue. Silver hair styled with professional elegance. Name badge identifying her as Regional Vice President. Margaret Sullivan has been with First Heritage Bank for 24 years. She oversees 9 branches across Kentucky and southern Indiana. She was not supposed to visit Louisville today, but a scheduling conflict with a board meeting freed her afternoon unexpectedly. She decided to drop by the flagship branch. She walks into chaos. 14 customers frozen in various states of shock. Security officer standing awkwardly beside a man in worn jeans. Branch manager Bradley Harrison red-faced and pointing like a prosecutor at a trial. I said this man is attempting fraud. He claims to be someone he obviously is not. Margaret's heels click against the marble floor as she approaches. What exactly is happening here? Bradley turns to her with visible relief. Ma'am, this individual walked in claiming to have over $20 million in his account. Look at him. He is clearly homeless or mentally disturbed. I believe he has stolen someone's identity and is attempting to access their funds. Margaret looks at the man in question. Something about him seems familiar. Very familiar. She steps closer, studies his face, the bone structure, the gentle eyes, the quiet dignity despite the shabby clothing. Recognition hits her like a thunderbolt. Oh my God. She turns to Bradley with an expression of pure horror. Do you have any idea who this is? Bradley blinks. A fraud. A vagrant trying to. This is Keanu Reeves. The name detonates in the marble lobby like a bomb of silence. Every whispered conversation stops. Every judgmental gaze transforms. Bradley's mouth opens, closes, opens again. No sound emerges. That is impossible. Keanu Reeves he would not look like what, Mr. Harrison? Margaret's voice has turned to Arctic ice. Like someone you decided was not worthy of basic human respect. Like someone you judged as worthless because of his clothing. She turns to Keanu. Mr. Reeves, sir, I apologize profoundly for this treatment. Please allow me to personally handle your transaction and ensure you receive the service you deserve. Sir. The word echoes through the lobby with entirely different weight than when Bradley used it. Bradley Harrison hears it and feels his world beginning to crumble. Sir? Not the dismissive, sir, he had been wielding like a weapon. Sir, with respect, with recognition, with the gravity of everything he failed to offer. Keanu looks at Margaret, then at Bradley, then at the phone still recording on the counter. Before we proceed, I have a question for your branch manager. Margaret nods. Of course. Whatever you need. Keanu turns to Bradley. When you were on the phone with your fraud department earlier, I heard you mention a name. Rebecca Mitchell. You were checking if my account had any connection to someone by that name. Why? Bradley's face goes pale as milk. I was simply following standard verification procedures. Why do you know that name? Silence stretches through the lobby like a held breath. Margaret frowns. Mr. Harrison, answer the question. Bradley's composure shatters completely. His professional facade cracks and falls away, revealing the frightened man beneath. I used to know someone with that name, years ago. It is not relevant to this transaction. Keanu steps closer. His voice drops to something cold and dangerous. Rebecca Mitchell is dying of cancer. She needs $1 million for experimental treatment. I am here to withdraw that money for her. He pauses. And you are the Bradley Harrison who abandoned her 3 years ago when she was pregnant with your child. The lobby goes completely silent. Margaret's hand covers her mouth. Bradley takes a step backward, nearly stumbling over his own chair. I do not know what you are talking about. Her father was Thomas Mitchell. My best friend for over 2 decades. He died 18 years ago. His final wish was for me to protect Rebecca from ever being hurt again. Especially by you. You abandoned a pregnant woman. You disappeared from her life completely. You left her to raise a child alone while you built your career and your comfortable life. Bradley grips the counter for support. His knuckles turn white. I did not know. I did not recognize. I did not know it was you. I did not know the money was for the woman you threw away like garbage, for the son you never bothered to acknowledge. Son. The word comes out as a whisper. Nathan, he is 23 years old, works construction to support his mother and 2 sisters, has more integrity in his smallest finger than you have demonstrated in your entire life. Bradley's legs seem to weaken. He sits heavily in his chair. I have a son. You have nothing. You gave up any right to that child when you ran away 3 years ago. Keanu turns to Margaret. I want my withdrawal processed immediately, and then I want to file a formal complaint against this man for discrimination and customer harassment. Of course, sir. Immediately. Please, follow me to my office. She guides Keanu toward the executive offices at the back of the building, her heels clicking rapid rhythms against the marble floor. Behind them, Bradley Harrison remains frozen at counter 3. 14 customers stare at him with a mixture of contempt and fascination. The security officer takes several steps away, wanting no association with what just transpired. Bradley Harrison sits in the ruins of his professional reputation, realizing with horrible clarity that his past has finally caught up with him in the most devastating way imaginable. In Margaret's private office, Keanu settles into a leather chair while she processes the withdrawal paperwork. Mr. Reeves, I cannot apologize enough for what you experienced today. It is not your fault. But it happened in my bank. Under my oversight, I am responsible for the conduct of my branch managers. Your branch manager has issues that go far beyond today. Margaret hesitates, her fingers pausing over the keyboard. Sir, I overheard what you said about the woman. Rebecca Mitchell. Is she truly? Dying. Yes. Cancer. Rare and aggressive, but treatable if she gets the right care fast enough. And Mr. Harrison is truly the father of her child. He provided genetic material 23 years ago. He has never been a father in any meaningful sense of the word. Margaret processes this information with visible discomfort. Sir, I want you to know that Mr. Harrison will face serious consequences for his behavior today. Good. May I ask, what would you like those consequences to be? Keanu considers the question carefully. That is your decision, not mine. I am not here for revenge. I am here to help a friend. Still, your input would be valuable. Then my input is this: whatever you do, make sure it teaches him something. Not just punishes him, but teaches him. People are not their worst moments, but they need to learn from them. Margaret nods slowly. That is remarkably generous, given what he put you through. He put himself through worse. He just does not know it yet. The withdrawal takes 40 minutes to process. $1 million in certified bank checks made out to the Louisville Cancer Treatment Center. Keanu signs the paperwork, takes the checks, tucks them carefully into his messenger bag. As he prepares to leave, Margaret stops him. Sir, may I ask one thing? Of course. You could have revealed who you were immediately. You could have avoided all of that unpleasantness. Why did you let it escalate? Keanu pauses at the door. Because I wanted to see how he would treat someone he thought was nobody. Someone with no power, no status, no famous name to hide behind. And what did you learn? I learned exactly who he is. And more importantly, he learned it too. Keanu walks out, leaving Margaret to contemplate the rubble of her branch manager's career. In the lobby, Bradley still sits at counter 3, staring at nothing. The other customers have resumed their business, but they give him a wide berth, as if his disgrace might be contagious. Keanu walks past without looking at him. The glass doors open. The Kentucky sun hits his face. He breathes deep and walks toward his rental car. Behind him, inside the marble monument to money and judgment, Bradley Harrison finally understands that some debts cannot be paid with currency. Keanu drives directly to Louisville General Hospital, where Rebecca is waiting to begin her first treatment consultation. The hospital is a sprawling complex of connected buildings, old and new architecture merged into a maze of corridors and waiting rooms. He parks in the visitor lot and walks through the main entrance, his worn boots squeaking on the freshly mopped floors. He finds Rebecca on the 3rd floor, in a private room that Keanu arranged and paid for without her knowledge. She looks thin, pale. The cancer has already begun to take its toll, but her eyes light up when she sees him walk through the door. And, for a moment, she looks like the young woman Thomas used to show pictures of with such pride. Keanu, you actually came. I told you I would. He sits beside her bed and takes her hand. Her skin feels paper, thin, fragile as autumn leaves. The money is handled. Everything is arranged. Your treatment starts tomorrow morning. Rebecca's eyes fill with tears. She tries unsuccessfully to blink away. I do not know how to thank you. I do not have words. My father would be. Your father would expect nothing less from me. He made me promise to look after you. This is not charity, Rebecca. This is family. She squeezes his hand with surprising strength. There is something I need to tell you. What? The bank where you went. First Heritage. The branch manager there, Bradley Harrison. I know. Rebecca's face loses what little color it retained. You know, I just came from there. We met. In fact, we had quite a conversation. Oh God, Keanu, what happened? Did he recognize you? Did he say anything about... He did not recognize me at first. He thought I was homeless. Tried to have me removed for fraud. Rebecca closes her eyes. That sounds like Bradley. When did you figure out who he was? About 6 months ago. I saw his picture in a local business magazine. Rising star in Kentucky banking. I almost threw up. Did you ever contact him? Never. After what he did, after he abandoned me, I decided he did not deserve to know about Nathan. About any of it. You made the right choice. Rebecca opens her eyes again. But now he knows, does he not? You told him. I told him he has a son. I told him that son has more integrity than he ever demonstrated. I did not tell him anything that would help him find Nathan or contact him. Thank you. But Rebecca, he knows now. Eventually, he may try to reach out. She shakes her head slowly. Nathan does not even know who his father is. I told him his father died before he was born. I could not bear to tell him the truth. Maybe that should stay the same. Or maybe it should not. That is your decision. And Nathan's, not Bradley's. Rebecca is silent for a long moment. What was he like? When you met him today? Arrogant. Judgmental. He looked at my clothes and decided I was worthless before he even checked my account balance. That is Bradley. He always cared more about appearances than substance. He seemed smaller than I expected. Men who abandon pregnant women. I always imagine them as monsters. He is just a sad little man with expensive suits and empty values. Did he seem sorry when he found out who you were? He seemed scared. Sorry for himself, maybe. I do not think he has the capacity to be sorry for what he did to you. Not yet. Not yet. People can change, Rebecca. Sometimes they need to hit bottom first. And you think Bradley has not hit bottom? I think he is about to. The next morning, Bradley Harrison is summoned to a meeting with Margaret Sullivan and 3 members of the bank's Human Resources Department. The conference room feels smaller than usual. The walls seem to press inward. The fluorescent lights buzz with accusatory intensity. Margaret speaks first. Mr. Harrison, as of 9 o'clock this morning, you are suspended without pay pending a full investigation into your conduct yesterday. Bradley's face goes gray. Suspended. For what? I was following protocol. What? Protocol instructs branch managers to publicly humiliate customers based on their appearance. What protocol involves calling a legitimate account holder homeless and attempting to have them removed by security? I thought he was committing fraud. His appearance was inconsistent with his claimed account balance. His appearance is none of your concern. His account balance, which you verified, should have ended the interaction immediately with an apology and full service. I was protecting the bank. You were protecting your prejudices. Margaret places a tablet on the conference table, presses play. The video shows the entire interaction from the security camera's perspective. Bradley's contempt. Keanu's calm dignity. The moment of recognition. The revelation about Rebecca and Nathan. This footage has been reviewed by our legal department. Margaret continues. They believe Mr. Reeves would have grounds for a substantial discrimination lawsuit if he chose to pursue one. He is not going to sue. He said he was not interested in revenge. That is remarkably fortunate for you, and for this bank. But his generosity does not excuse your behavior. The Human Resources representative speaks up. Mr. Harrison, we have also reviewed your service record. This is not the first complaint of discriminatory treatment from customers. There have been 7 previous incidents over the past 4 years, all of which were handled internally without formal discipline. Bradley's jaw tightens. Those complaints were unfounded. They were convenient to dismiss. That changes today. Margaret leans forward. Bradley, I am going to be direct with you. Your career at this bank is over. The only question is whether you resign voluntarily with a neutral reference, or whether we terminate you for cause and document everything that happened yesterday. You cannot do this. I have 18 years with this company. 18 years that you just destroyed in 52 minutes. A Bradley sits in stunned silence. I need time to think. You have until 5 o'clock today to submit your resignation. If we do not receive it by then, the termination process begins. The meeting ends. Bradley walks out of the conference room in a daze. His office no longer feels like his. The plaques on the wall. The awards for sales performance. The photograph of him shaking hands with the CEO at a company retreat. All of it meaningless now. He sits at his desk and stares at the wall. His phone buzzes. A text from his wife. Dinner at 7. I made reservations at that Italian place you like. He does not respond. How can he tell her? How can he explain that the life they built together is crumbling because he could not see past a man's clothing? How can he tell her about Rebecca? About Nathan? About the son he never knew existed? Bradley Harrison puts his head in his hands and, for the first time in 23 years, confronts the weight of the choices he made. While Bradley spirals, Keanu focuses on what matters. Rebecca's treatment begins. The experimental protocol is administered by a team of specialists from the Mayo Clinic, brought to Louisville specifically for her case. The procedure is complex, expensive, and cutting edge. The first week is brutal. Side effects rack Rebecca's already weakened body. Nausea, fatigue, pain that makes her cry out in her sleep. Keanu visits every day, sitting beside her bed, reading to her when she can listen, simply being present when she cannot. Nathan comes every evening after work. The 23-year-old construction worker has his mother's eyes and his grandfather's quiet strength. He works 10-hour shifts hauling materials and operating heavy equipment, then drives straight to the hospital to sit with Rebecca until visiting hours end. You should get some rest, Keanu tells him one evening. You look exhausted. I will rest when Mom is better. She would not want you running yourself into the ground. She does not get a vote on this one. Keanu almost smiles. You are just like your grandfather. Nathan looks at him with curiosity. Mom says you two were close. That you were with him when he died. I was. He was my best friend for 15 years. She says he talked about me. Even though I was only 5 when he passed. He talked about you constantly. Showed me pictures. Told me stories. He was so proud of you, Nathan. Even then. Nathan is quiet for a moment. I wish I remembered him better. I have flashes, you know. His voice. His hands. The way he smelled like sawdust and coffee. But I cannot put them together into a whole person. He was a good man. The best man I ever knew. He taught me things about loyalty and friendship that I still carry every day. Like what? Like showing up. Being there when it matters. Keeping promises even when nobody is watching. Nathan nods slowly. That is what I try to do. For Mom. For my sisters. Your sisters. Half-sisters. Different fathers. Also absent. Emily is 14. Sophia is 11. They live with us. Keanu feels a wave of respect for this young man. You take care of all of them. Somebody has to. That is a heavy burden for someone your age. It is not a burden. It is family. The simple statement carries more wisdom than Bradley Harrison has demonstrated in 45 years of living. Nathan, there is something I need to tell you. About the bank. Mom mentioned something happened. The branch manager at First Heritage Bank. The one who tried to have me removed for fraud. Yeah. His name is Bradley Harrison. Nathan's expression does not change, but something shifts behind his eyes. That name means nothing to me. It should. He is your biological father. Silence. Long, heavy silence. I know Mom told you he died before you were born. Keanu continues. She was trying to protect you from the truth. But you deserve to know, especially now that he knows about you. He knows about me. I told him. During our confrontation at the bank. Why? Because I wanted him to understand exactly what he threw away when he abandoned your mother. Nathan processes this information with remarkable composure. So my father is alive. He works at a bank. He tried to have you arrested for being poor? That is essentially correct. And now he knows I exist. Wes. Is he going to try to contact me? I do not know. But if he does, you do not have to respond. You do not owe him anything. Any relationship with him, if you ever want one, will be entirely on your terms. Nathan stares out the hospital window at the Louisville skyline. My whole life, I imagined meeting my father. When I was a kid, I used to dream that he was some kind of hero. an astronaut or a soldier or something, that he had a good reason for being gone. And now I know he is just a guy in a suit who judges people by their clothes and runs away when things get hard. That is accurate. Does he know Mom is sick? He knows now. And he has not tried to contact her. Not that I am aware of. Nathan's jaw tightens. Then he has not changed at all, has he? Still running. Still hiding. People can change, Nathan. Sometimes they need time. 23 years was not enough time. Keanu has no answer for that. 2 weeks pass. Rebecca's treatment continues. The initial side effects begin to subside. The doctors report cautious optimism about her response to the protocol. Bradley Harrison submits his resignation from First Heritage Bank and disappears into private disgrace. But he does not stay hidden. After days of drinking alone in his apartment, after his wife moves out with promises to talk when things settle down, after hitting the bottom that Keanu predicted, Bradley makes a decision. He will find Nathan. He will explain himself. He will make things right. Using contacts from his banking career, Bradley obtains Nathan's work address, home address, and phone number. He tells himself this is fatherly concern, not stalking. He tells himself he has a right to know his own son. He does not examine these rationalizations too closely. On a Thursday afternoon, Bradley drives to the construction site where Nathan works, parks across the street, watches the workers move materials and operate machinery. He spots Nathan immediately. Tall, strong, moving with the easy confidence of someone comfortable in his own body. Lifting lumber that would strain most men. Laughing with coworkers, drinking water from a thermos. Bradley watches for an hour. His son, 23 years of life he missed. First steps, first words, first day of school, first heartbreak. All of it happening without him. All of it building this young man who does not even know Bradley exists. Who does know now? Bradley reminds himself. Keanu told him. Nathan knows his father abandoned him. Knows his father judged a stranger by his clothing. Knows his father is the kind of man who runs when life gets difficult. What must he think? The shift ends at 5 o'clock. Workers stream out to the parking lot, climbing into trucks and carpooling toward homes and families. Bradley gets out of his car. Walks toward Nathan. Nathan Mitchell? Nathan turns. Sees a man in expensive clothes approaching. His expression closes off. Who wants to know? My name is Bradley Harrison. I am your father. Nathan's face goes completely still. I know who you are. You do, Keanu told me. 2 weeks ago, Bradley feels something twist in his chest. I wanted to meet you. To explain. To explain what? Nathan's voice is flat, cold, empty of emotion. Why you promised my mother forever and then disappeared. Why you left her pregnant and alone. Why she worked 3 jobs to feed me while you built your career judging people by their clothes. I was young. I made a terrible mistake. A mistake is forgetting a birthday. What you did was abandon a family. But I want to make it right now. I want to be part of your life. Nathan steps closer. He is taller than Bradley. Broader. His hands are callows from real work. You want to be part of my life. Where were you when I was 5 and could not understand why other kids had fathers? Where were you when I was 10 and started working odd jobs to help Mom pay rent? Where were you when I was 15 and dropped out of sports because we could not afford equipment? I did not know. You did not want to know. There is a difference. Bradley reaches for Nathan's arm. Please. Just give me a chance. Nathan pulls away. Do not touch me. Nathan. You had 23 years of chances. You wasted every single one. Now you show up because Keanu embarrassed you at your bank. Because you lost your job. That is not a father wanting to reconnect. That is a guilty man trying to feel better about himself. That is not fair. Fair. Nathan's voice rises. You want to talk about fair? My mother has cancer. She is fighting for her life. And the only reason she has a chance is because a man who is not even related to her keeps his promises, while you, her child's father, spent 23 years living in comfort. Other workers are watching now. Bradley becomes aware of the audience. Nathan, please. Can we talk somewhere private? We are done talking. Go back to your empty apartment. Go back to your ruined career. Go back to being the man who judges people by surfaces instead of substance. And stay away from my family. Nathan turns and walks to his truck. Nathan, wait. But Nathan does not wait. He drives away, leaving Bradley standing alone in the parking lot, surrounded by hostile stares from workers who overheard enough to understand. Bradley returns to his car, sits in silence. His plan failed. His son hates him. His career is destroyed. His marriage is over. Everything is falling apart. But instead of accepting responsibility, instead of using this moment for genuine reflection, Bradley focuses his anger on one person, Keanu Reeves, that man who walked into his bank in shabby clothes and destroyed everything. If Keanu had just dressed appropriately, if he had identified himself immediately, if he had not recorded the interaction, if he had not humiliated Bradley in front of colleagues and customers, none of this would have happened. Bradley decides to fight back. He contacts a tabloid journalist known for publishing celebrity scandals, offers to share his story for the right price. Keanu Reeves discriminated against me, Bradley claims. He came into my bank deliberately dressed like a homeless person to entrap me. He recorded our conversation to destroy me. He is using his celebrity to ruin an ordinary working man's life. The journalist is skeptical but intrigued. Do you have evidence? I have the bank's security footage. I have records of the complaint. I can get witnesses. Can you actually obtain that footage? Bradley hesitates. Accessing bank security systems after his termination would be illegal. Would certainly guarantee criminal charges. But what does he have to lose? I can get it. Then we have a deal. Bradley returns to First Heritage Bank after hours. His security credentials have not yet been fully deactivated. Oversight in the termination process. A small window of opportunity. He enters through the service entrance, makes his way to the server room, downloads the footage, copies customer files, gathers anything he thinks might be useful for his revenge. He does not know that the bank's security system logs all after-hours access. He does not know that Margaret Sullivan receives an immediate alert about his unauthorized entry. He does not know that within 48 hours, his attempted revenge will result in criminal charges that will follow him for the rest of his life. The tabloid story never runs. The journalist, after reviewing the footage, realizes it shows exactly what Keanu claimed. A branch manager treating a customer with contempt based on appearance. No entrapment, no provocation, no conspiracy, just straightforward discrimination followed by public humiliation when the truth emerged. The journalist contacts Keanu's representatives with a warning about Bradley's activities. Keanu thanks them but declines to comment publicly. Bradley is arrested 3 days later. Unauthorized access to bank computer systems. Theft of confidential customer information. Attempted distribution of protected financial records. The charges carry potential prison time. His booking photo appears on local news, then national news when Keanu's involvement becomes known. Headlines read, Bank manager who discriminated against Keanu Reeves arrested for data theft. Bradley Harrison's public humiliation is complete. His remaining friends distance themselves. His extended family stops returning calls. His lawyer advises pleading guilty for a reduced sentence. He sits in a jail cell, awaiting arraignment, finally forced to confront the consequences of a lifetime of judging others while refusing to examine himself. Meanwhile, Rebecca's treatment progresses. Week by week, the experimental protocol works its quiet miracle. Tumors shrink. Blood counts improve. Energy returns in small increments. Keanu visits whenever his schedule allows, flying from Los Angeles to Louisville as often as possible. He brings flowers, brings books, brings the simple gift of presents that Rebecca's father asked him to provide 18 years ago. Nathan visits daily. His devotion to his mother never wavers, even as his own exhaustion mounts. Emily and Sophia, Rebecca's younger daughters bring drawings and stories and the boundless optimism of children who believe their mother will be fine because any other outcome is unthinkable. One evening, during a quiet moment between treatments, Rebecca asked Keanu about Bradley. I heard he was arrested. He made some poor choices after he lost his job. Poor choices seems to be his specialty. He tried to steal information from the bank, wanted to sell a story to tabloids about me. Rebecca shakes her head slowly. Even now, even after everything, still blaming everyone except himself. That is why he is in jail and you are getting better. What will happen to him? Probably prison time. A year or two, depending on the charges and how he pleads. And after is up to him. Prison can break people or change them. We will see which one he chooses. Rebecca is silent for a moment. Keanu, can I tell you something strange? Of course. Part of me feels sorry for him. Keanu raises an eyebrow but says nothing. Not for what happened to him. He brought that on himself. But for who he is. For the life he chose. He had a chance at a real family, and he threw it away for career and comfort. Now he has neither. That is remarkably generous, given everything he did to you. My father taught me that carrying anger is like carrying poison. It does not hurt the person you are angry at. It only hurts you. Your father was a wise man. He also said forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing yourself. Do you believe that? Rebecca looks out the window at the Louisville skyline. I think I am too tired to carry anger anymore. I have spent 23 years resenting a man I never saw, blaming him for everything difficult in my life. But my life has also been full of good things. Nathan, Emily, Sophia, my father while he was alive, you watching over us all these years. So you forgive him. I already have. Not for his sake, for mine. Keanu takes her hand. Your father would be incredibly proud of you. I hope so. I know so. They sit together in comfortable silence as the sun sets over the city. 3 months later, the doctors deliver the news everyone has been praying for. Complete remission. The cancer is gone. The experimental treatment worked beyond anyone's expectations. No trace of disease remains. Rebecca will need follow-up scans and monitoring for years to come, but the immediate danger has passed. The celebration is quiet but profound. Family dinner at Rebecca's small apartment. Keanu flies in from Los Angeles. Nathan cooks on a second-hand grill he bought with his first real paycheck. Emily and Sophia decorate every surface with handmade banners and paper flowers. To Mom, Nathan says, raising his glass of lemonade. The toughest woman in Kentucky. To Mom, the girls echo. To Rebecca, Keanu adds. And to Thomas, who is watching over all of us. Rebecca wipes her eyes. Thank you. All of you. I could not have survived this without my family. She looks at Keanu, and that includes you. You have been more than a friend. More than a guardian. You have been a brother. Keanu smiles. I made a promise to your father. I intend to keep it for the rest of my life. Even though I am healthy now. Especially now. Keeping promises during crisis is easy. Keeping them during ordinary days is what really matters. Nathan clears his throat. Since we are being emotional, I want to say something too. Everyone turns to him. I spent most of my life thinking I had to be the man of this family alone, that it was my responsibility to protect everyone, provide for everyone, handle everything by myself. He looks at Keanu. You taught me that accepting help is not weakness. That family is not just blood. That people can keep promises even when no one is watching and there is nothing to gain. He extends his hand. Thank you for everything. Keanu shakes his hand firmly. Thank you for letting me be part of this family. Emily and Sophia exchange glances, then rush forward to hug Keanu simultaneously. You are stuck with us now. Emily announces. Forever and ever? Sophia adds. Keanu laughs. I accept those terms. 1 year later, Rebecca remarries. Not Bradley. A man named David she met at the hospital during her treatment. A widower with 2 children of his own. A kind man who loves her for exactly who she is. not for who he thinks she should be. Keanu attends the wedding. He gives a toast that makes everyone cry. Thomas Mitchell was my best friend. He asked me to protect his daughter and watch over his family. I thought that meant money, emergency assistance, being there during crisis. He looks at Rebecca and David. But I learned something from this family. Protection is not just about resources or security. It is about showing up, being present, keeping promises when no one is watching. He raises his glass to Rebecca and David. May your marriage be built on presence, not presence. On showing up, not showing off. On loving each other exactly as you are, not as the world thinks you should be. The room applauds. After the reception, Nathan approaches Keanu. Good speech. Thanks. You really meant what you said. About showing up. Every word. Nathan hesitates. I want you to know something. I visited Bradley last month. Keanu raises an eyebrow but remains silent. Not to reconnect as father and son. That ship sailed 23 years ago. But to understand. To see what kind of person he has become after everything. And what did you find? I found a different man than I expected. Prison changed him. Broke him down and rebuilt him into something smaller but maybe more honest. How so? Hay volunteers now at a shelter for homeless men. Teaches financial literacy to people getting back on their feet. Works at a food bank on weekends. That is something. It is not redemption. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it is something. Keanu nods. Your grandfather once told me that people are not static. We can grow. We can change. We can become better or worse based on our choices. Which direction is Bradley going? That is not for me to judge. Or you. That is between him and his own conscience. Nathan thinks about this. When I was a kid, I used to fantasize about meeting my father. Imagined he would be some kind of hero who had a good reason for being gone. As I got older, the fantasy became a nightmare. I imagined confronting him, destroying him with my words. And now I just feel tired. Tired of carrying anger. Tired of letting someone who was never there take up space in my head. Your mother said something similar once. Maybe wisdom runs in the family. Keanu smiles. Maybe it does. 5 years after the incident at the bank, Keanu returns to Louisville. Not for a crisis. Not for an emergency. Just to visit family. He arrives at Rebecca and David's house in the suburbs, a proper home with a backyard where the combined children play. Laughter echoes from inside. Nathan answers the door. Uncle Keanu. The title still makes Keanu smile. He never expected to be anyone's uncle. Never expected to have family beyond the friends he collected over decades. Nathan. You look good. Nathan is no longer working construction. He finished his engineering degree and now works at a firm designing bridges. His hands are still strong, but they create different things now. Come in. Everyone is waiting. The house is full of people. Rebecca and David, Nathan and his fiancée, Emily, now 19 and studying literature at the University of Louisville. Sophia, 16 and obsessed with robotics. David's children, now teenagers who have fully integrated into the blended family. And one unexpected guest. Bradley Harrison stands in the corner of the room, looking uncomfortable but present. Keanu stops in surprise. Nathan notices his reaction. I invited him. I hope that is okay. Keanu takes a moment to process. It is your family, Nathan. Your choice. He has been different. The last 3 years. Really different. I thought maybe he deserved a chance to see what a real family gathering looks like. Keanu crosses the room to where Bradley stands. Bradley tenses, clearly expecting confrontation. Mr. Reeves. Bradley, I want to apologize. For everything. For how I treated you at the bank. For what I tried to do afterward. For the kind of man I was. Keanu studies his face. Sees genuine remorse. Sees the marks of hard years. Sees something that might possibly be authentic change. Apology accepted. Bradley blinks. Just like that? Just like that? But I destroyed everything I touched. I hurt people. I tried to hurt you? You did. And you faced consequences. And from what Nathan tells me, You have spent years trying to become someone different. I am trying. I do not know if I will ever fully succeed, but I am trying every day. Keanu places a hand on Bradley's shoulder. That is all any of us can do. Try to be better than we were yesterday. Fail sometimes. Get up and try again. You really believe that? I have to. Because I have made mistakes too. Different ones than yours, but mistakes. The only difference between a good person and a bad one is not the absence of mistakes. It is what you do after you make them. Bradley's eyes fill with tears. He quickly blinks away. Thank you for giving me the chance to be here, for not holding the past against me forever. Thank Nathan. It was his decision, his forgiveness that matters. Keanu moves on to greet the rest of the family, leaving Bradley to process the unexpected grace he has just received. Dinner is chaotic and wonderful. Too many people in too small a space, arguing about everything from sports to politics to which Star Wars movie is best. Keanu sits at the center of it all, surrounded by a family that is not his by blood, but is his by choice, by promise, by presence. After dinner, he steps onto the back porch for fresh air. Rebecca joins him, thinking deep thoughts, just grateful thoughts. For what? For your father, for making me promise to watch over you. It ended up being one of the best things that ever happened in my life. Keanu, we are the ones who should be grateful. You have been there for every crisis, every celebration, every ordinary Tuesday. Ordinary Tuesdays are the best ones. They stand in comfortable silence, watching fireflies dance in the backyard. Can I tell you something? Rebecca asks. Always. When my father died, I thought I was truly alone. I thought no one would ever care about me the way he did. And now I understand that family is not about blood. It is about who shows up, who keeps promises, who stays when things are hard and when things are easy. She turns to face him. You showed up, Keanu. You kept your promise. You stayed? I always will. I know. She hugs him tightly. Thank you for being my brother. Thank you for being my family. Inside, laughter erupts at something Nathan said. Outside, the stars shine over Louisville. And somewhere beyond the sky, Thomas Mitchell smiles. His daughter is safe. His grandchildren are thriving. His best friend kept the promise made beside a hospital bed 18 years ago. Some promises are made to be broken. Others are made to be kept forever. The difference is not in the promise itself. The difference is in the character of the person making it. Keanu Reeves walked into a Louisville bank looking like a man who had nothing. He walked out having demonstrated everything that truly matters. Not money, though he had plenty. Not fame, though the world knew his name. But presence, loyalty, the quiet keeping of promises made to a dying friend. Bradley Harrison looked at Keanu's worn clothes and saw worthlessness. He missed the worth that no amount of money can buy. Character is not measured by wardrobes. Dignity is not determined by appearances. Value is not calculated by bank balances. Every person who walks through any door, in any establishment, anywhere in the world, deserves basic human respect. Not because of what they have, because of what they are. Human, worthy, deserving of dignity from the very first moment, not after recognition, not after verification, from the beginning. That is the lesson Bradley Harrison learned too late but learned nonetheless. That is the lesson Keanu Reeves lived every single day. That is the lesson this family, built from broken pieces and held together by promises kept, will carry forward forever. Respect begins before recognition. Dignity begins before judgment. Family begins before blood. And love, real love, begins with simply showing up. Day after day, year after year, promise after promise. Kept. Thank you for following this story. Let us know in the comments below. If this story has moved you and you would like to stand with us in bringing more voices of truth and hope to light, please consider supporting our work. Even the smallest gift helps us continue creating and sharing these powerful stories. You can find the donate link in the description. And of course, do not forget to subscribe so you will not miss the next chapter We are preparing for you.